The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world. And Louisiana's main ingredient? Seafood. Brought to you by the crawfish farmers and harvesters of Louisiana-grown crawfish.
You caught me. Well, Jan made this gorgeous cake for me, and I was going to eat my dessert before I fixed my meal, because, you know, life is so uncertain. I was going to enjoy my dessert first, but since you stopped me, let me teach you about these wonderful Louisiana oysters. Bonjour, welcome to Miss Lucy's Cajun Classroom. I'm your host and teacher, Miss Lucy, and today there's a whole lot of shucking going on. For hundreds of years, generations have fished and eaten oysters from Louisiana. Every year, across 8 million acres of the Louisiana Gulf Coast, about 750 million oysters are farmed, harvested, and processed. Guess I'd better get to shucking and eating as fast as I can. Louisiana is the leading producer of oysters in the United States, accounting for over 40% of the nation's oysters. They're fat, juicy, and salty. The only thing you have to decide is how you like to eat them. You've probably heard the saying that you should only eat oysters in the months with R's in them. That's because of the cooler waters in winter months. But with refrigeration now, it's much safer to eat oysters anytime as long as you follow a few rules. If you're a healthy person, you can still enjoy oysters raw on the half shell. However, if you have an immune deficiency or liver problems, diabetes, or some other chronic malady, you could be at risk. Here are some tips for cooking oysters to avoid that nasty bacteria. Cook oysters thoroughly. Steam them until the shells open and then continue cooking for 9 more minutes. Do not eat those shellfish that do not open during cooking. Fry shucked oysters in oil at least 10 minutes at 375 degrees. Eat oysters right after you cook them and always refrigerate leftovers. Nowadays, you can find pressurized or flash pasteurized oysters that have been treated to kill the bacteria. According to the Louisiana Oyster Task Force, there's 50 ways to eat your oysters. You can grill them, steam them, or fry them in a pan. You can bake them, broil them, or cook them in a stew. I've made oysters nachos, oyster bacon wraparounds, a delicious creamy artichoke and oyster soup, and an oyster rice dressing that will make you want to slap your grandma. However you cook and eat them, enjoy Louisiana oysters. These are the gorgeous and delicious Oysters Casino. Now I'll teach you how to bake those. Okay, you've got your butter already in your food processor. And you add your lemon juice. And Worcestershire sauce, as I say, Worcestershire sauce. Brandy. Sherry. No wonder they're so good. We get them drunk, that's why they're good. Capers. And just a little bit of that. And of course, these are the anchovy fillets that really add flavor to this. Parsley. Fresh parsley, nothing beats it. Good. Now this is lemon zest. Of course, this is my zester that I use. I just chop it up like this, and it's beautiful. It's not hard to do. It just takes a little time. You see, just get it off right off of the lemon. Very good. All right. Now we're going to blend, or I should say process all this together till it's real creamy. Good. Let me check it. Not quite. A little bit longer. It's got to form kind of like a paste to where you can stuff the shell with the oyster in it. So I really shucked a lot of oysters this morning.
Here are some tips for shucking oysters safely.
It takes a little while, but of course not as long as it takes to shuck the oysters. Now let me caution you a little bit about shucking oysters. Of course, I've got a very special knife that my friend Kevin sent to me, and I really, I hate to shuck oysters because it's very dangerous. You may accidentally cut your hand if you don't use it properly. You have to hold that oyster knife, and they're called oyster knives. They're very special knives, and you just hold them very firmly with your right hand. In your left hand, make sure you have a glove, a very, very sturdy glove, because actually if that knife slips, it has a tendency to cut. The first time that the general shucked oysters, he was going to save himself a lot of money, and he was going to buy a sack of oysters, and he was going to really go to town. Well, he did, straight to the emergency room. And of course, bless his heart, he had a punctured hand. Cost him in those days, 46, 50 years ago, $50 was a lot of money. Well, it cost us $50 for the doctor, and plus all the medicine and all, and a lot of suffering. So you don't want to experience that. You really want to be very cautious in when you're shucking oysters, if that's what you want to do.
When handled properly, shellfish such as oysters are as safe to eat as any other source of protein. For healthy individuals, the nutritional benefits of seafood far outweigh the safety concerns. People with compromised immune systems, such as those with liver disease, can also benefit from eating seafood, but should follow a few precautionary measures when preparing it.
Okay. Now these oysters have been stuffed, and I'm going to add a little Creole seasoning to this. Let me use my fingers. That's what I do best. Anyway, Creole seasoning. Okay, and each and every one of them. That's going to add flavor to the oysters and also to the stuffing. Yeah. Yeah. Of course. They always look so much better for presentation in the shell. If you don't have shells, you can always use just a little well, a baking dish, I guess, with just the stuffing, and add the oysters on the bottom and just put the stuffing on top of the oysters. It works just as well. It's just that the shell makes it look more appetizing. Okay, lots of pepper. Okay, then to that, I'm going to top this with a slice of bacon. Well, piece of a slice of bacon anyway. Okay, lay it right on top. See, this is not hard to do, just the problem of getting the oysters. And I really, sometimes when I don't feel like shucking oysters, I'll just go ahead and buy some and order some, and just go ahead and put them in a little pan and just have the Oysters Casino without the oyster shell. Okay, very good. All right, now I'm going to bake these at 350 for about 10 minutes, or until the bacon kind of melts in there and it gives the oysters a wonderful flavor. Okay, there you go. All righty. And while they bake, I'm going to teach you how to make a very special dressing for my salad. And now to fix that special salad dressing that my friend Beverly McCormick taught me and Missy how to make. Of course, first of all, you start with the pint jar. A woman has to have this in every kitchen, the most important piece of equipment. Okay, so I'll take some balsamic vinegar in here. This is some buttermilk dry salad mix. Okay, this is your garlic and herb dry salad mix. And this is virgin oil. Okay. Let me add a little pepper and salt to this. Okay. Just throw it in like this. This is a little salt. Okay. Put this in here. Very good. And you shake, shake, shake. See, not a whole lot of shucking going on, but a whole lot of shaking going on, too. Let me get my salad now. All right, got this. Next thing you do, of course, you shake it up again, and you're going to have to drizzle it over the salad. You fix these individually, or you can make it in a big bowl. See how pretty it is? And ooh, it adds to the flavor of this lettuce and tomatoes and cucumbers. Very good. Wow. So now we've completed that. Let's go on to my favorite part, dessert. And now we'll have a whole lot of mixing going on. Of course, I've got my cake mix in here already. I'm going to add my eggs. Okay. Oil. Strawberry gelatin. Milk. This is such an easy cake because you just throw everything together. Coconut. Pecans. Some people say pecans, but we in South Louisiana say pecans. So, and last but not least, our wonderful Louisiana strawberries. Okay. Now we have a whole lot of mixing going on. Woo! All righty. Put it all together. This is such a good cake. It's just so easy to make. You just throw everything together. Of course, I'm really not an expert cake baker, but Jan, my niece, has taught me a lot of things about cake baking. And of course, my favorite part is when I can use a cake mix. I don't ever make cakes anymore without using a cake mix. Very good. So just a few minutes, a couple minutes, and it's over with. Okay, good. Let's see. Deal. Oh, boy, that smells good.
Just thought you might like to have a glossary of the cooking terms used on today's program. And remember these baking tips for perfect cake every time.
Just drizzle on down. We don't want to lose any strawberries. We want to take them all out of here. No waste. They're too good to waste. Oops. Quality control. I gotta check it out. Okay. Let me get this out of here. Good deal. Okay. Very good. Now, of course, next is to just pour it into the cake pans before you bake them. I always hope that I have enough batter left to where I can just eat it raw. I enjoy raw cake batter, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. You have to spray your pans so they're easier. The cake is easier to come out of your cake pan. So, and it makes the dishwashing much easier too with that nonstick coating. Okay. You can just smell that. It's just, boy, I can't wait. Very good. And of course, let me just add the rest of it because it'll make it much prettier if you have a bigger cake. It'll be thicker. Yes. Man. Really good. Oh, I tell you what, this is great. Of course, next I'm going to just put them in the oven and bake them at 325. Remember, the slower you bake your cakes, the more moist they are. So for about 30 minutes. And make sure they're done. And you can check your cakes by inserting a toothpick in the middle of them. Or I just kind of like to pat them a little bit, and if it bounces up, they're done. If it doesn't, well, they're not quite done, so put them back in the oven. Okay, now, the next thing I'm going to do, put this in here, and I'm going to go over and get my icing and frosting. This is really the filling and the, okay, now you can use the same bowl. You don't have to worry about dishwashing. Okay, like this. And what you do, you add your powdered sugar into your bowl with your butter. Oops, this won't go. Just add this in here. Okay. Of course, the powdered sugar will go in. Good deal. Okay. Just gonna lower this and just very slow because you'll get powdered sugar all over if you don't. Okay. And just blend in with the butter. See, that's another good thing about this cake. You don't have to worry about washing dishes and getting all flustered over your sink. Okay. Now the next thing is your strawberries. Again, beautiful Louisiana strawberries that we beat. Okay. Pecans and coconut. Practically the same ingredients that's in. Ooh, boy, I'm cooking good today because I'm being messy. Okay. Just checking out the consistency, because what you do, you save your strawberry juice and just enough to make it to the spreading consistency. You don't use it all. Yeah, that looks like it's good. Okay. See, you can frost your cake, make it so easy to frost. And, yeah, very good. We got that completed finally. Now that I'm finished with baking my dessert, there's been a whole lot of eating going on.
We've had a wonderful day today, and now I would like to share a letter with you. Hello, Miss Lucy. Watching your program makes me homesick for good old Cajun cooking. I am from South Louisiana and have lived in Albuquerque for 15 years. The Southwestern food is delicious, but nothing can compare to the food and the hospitality of South Louisiana. Thank you for your program. It brings a little of home to me so far away. Sandy Naranjo. Thank you, Sandy. for writing this wonderful letter to me. And thank you for joining me today. I hope that you have learned some lessons in Miss Lucy's Cajun classroom.
The Louisiana Seafood Board is proud to sponsor Miss Lucy's cooking series. Louisiana cooking is known around the world. And Louisiana's main ingredient? Seafood. Brought to you by the crawfish farmers and harvesters of Louisiana-grown crawfish. To order Miss Lucy's cookbooks, please send check or money order to the address on your screen or call toll-free 1-800-257-5829.